One of the most common things I hear from men over 60 is this quiet worry they don't always share with their friends or even their spouse. It's about circulation, but not just the kind that keeps your hands warm in winter or your legs moving when you take a walk. I'm talking about the circulation down there, the kind that keeps intimacy alive, confidence strong, and life feeling vibrant. And what surprises so many of my patients is that the solution to better blood flow often starts with something as simple as what you put on your breakfast plate in the morning. I'll never forget a gentleman named Richard. He came into my office one spring morning wearing a ball cap and looking a little embarrassed. He told me, "Doc, I've been slowing down, and I don't just mean when I'm mowing the lawn. My wife says she notices too. I don't feel the same spark." He had tried a few over-the-counter remedies, but nothing seemed to help. What really stood out to me was his diet. His mornings usually began with a cup of coffee and a sweet pastry. Quick, easy, but not giving his body the right kind of start to the day. Now, I want to pause here because I know many of you watching this may have a similar morning routine. Maybe it's toast with jam or just black coffee to get going. It feels harmless, but what Richard was missing and what so many men overlook is how critical the morning meal is for supporting circulation throughout the body. And that includes the area most men care deeply about. I'm Dr. Nolan Easton, and for more than 30 years, I've worked with seniors, especially men, helping them reclaim their health, vitality, and confidence as they age. I've seen the same patterns repeat themselves time and again. Poor circulation doesn't just affect your legs or your heart. It shows up in your energy, your performance, and yes, in your intimacy. And the good news? The body has this amazing ability to respond when you give it the right fuel. When I explained this to Richard, his shoulders relaxed. He wasn't broken, and he didn't need a miracle drug. What he needed was a better way to start his mornings, something that would send the right signals to his blood vessels, wake up his circulation, and keep him energized throughout the day. I told him, "Richard, think of breakfast as the foundation of your circulation house. If you build it weak, the whole structure struggles. But if you build it strong, everything stands taller." Now, before I go any further, let me ask you something. If you believe that what you eat first thing in the morning could play a role in keeping your blood flowing strong and your confidence high, give this video a thumbs up. And if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe and tap the bell icon, because I'll be sharing advice every week that could change the way you feel at 60, 70, even 80. Also, I'd love for you to drop a quick yes or no in the comments. Do you think your morning meals are helping or hurting your circulation? I do read your answers, and they help me guide these conversations so they truly meet your needs. Now, back to Richard. What I asked him to do was simple. Instead of reaching for the sugary pastry, I encouraged him to include one very specific kind of food in the morning, something rich in natural compounds that nourish the blood vessels and encourage better circulation. It was a food he already liked, just not one he thought about as a circulation booster. Within a few weeks of making that change, Richard came back grinning. He said, "Doc, I don't know what's in that, but my wife keeps asking what I'm doing different. I feel alive again." That's the part that makes me so passionate about this work, because it's not just about science, it's about real people like Richard who rediscover parts of themselves they thought were gone for good. And it often starts with one small but powerful shift, repeated each morning, that sets the tone for the entire day. Here's why mornings matter so much. When you wake up, your body has gone through a long fast. Your blood sugar is low, your energy reserves are waiting to be replenished, and your blood vessels are especially responsive. If you feed your body something that spikes your sugar, like pastries or sweet cereals, it creates inflammation, stiffens the arteries, and makes circulation sluggish. But if you give your body foods that open up the vessels and supply steady energy, the difference is remarkable. You don't just feel it in your muscles or in your heart, you feel it in your confidence, your mood, and yes, in your intimacy. And over the years, I've had patients who were convinced their best days were behind them. They'd tried medications, they'd worried silently, and they'd almost given up. But when they embraced the idea that what they ate, especially first thing in the morning, was like medicine for their circulation, they noticed changes they didn't expect. One man told me he felt warmer in his hands and feet. Another said his walks around the block no longer left him winded. And another, with a smile I'll never forget, said, "Doc, things are working again in the bedroom. I didn't think that was possible at my age." And here's something important to remember. Circulation isn't just about intimacy. It's about independence. It's about walking without pain, climbing stairs without getting winded, having the energy to play with your grandchildren and feeling like your body is supporting you instead of holding you back. That's why I emphasize this so strongly. Because the right morning food isn't just about improving one part of your life, it's about lifting the whole experience of aging into something more vibrant and fulfilling. So, let's come back to you. Tomorrow morning, when you reach for breakfast, I want you to think of it as a choice point. You can choose something that slows your circulation, or you can choose something that boosts it. And as we go deeper into this conversation, I'll share with you the exact foods that make the difference, the ones I've seen transform the lives of men like Richard. But for now, I want you to take heart in this simple truth. Your body is capable of more than you realize. Even after 60, 70, or beyond, you can make changes that restore energy, circulation, and confidence. It's not too late, and you're not too far gone. The power is in your hands, and it starts tomorrow morning with what you choose to eat.
When Richard and I sat together in my office, what really stood out to me was how relieved he felt when I explained that circulation down there wasn't just a matter of age or luck. It was a matter of choices. Choices that he could still make at 65, 70, or even 75 years old. He told me, "Doc, I thought this was the beginning of the end. I figured I'd just have to accept it." But the truth is, our bodies are much more forgiving than we give them credit for. Even after decades of habits that may not have been the best, your circulation system is ready to respond if you give it the right tools. And in the mornings, that tool is food. Think of your blood vessels like a garden hose. If the hose is stiff, bent, and clogged, the water struggles to flow through. But if the hose is flexible, clear, and supported, the water runs freely. Your arteries and veins work the same way. They need certain nutrients to stay flexible, open, and strong. If you skip them in the morning, it's like running your garden with a clogged hose. You'll always get less than you need. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you with details or fancy words. Let's keep this simple and practical. There are foods that make circulation worse, and there are foods that make it better. Most men don't realize that the sugary breakfast cereal or white toast with jam is quietly stiffening their blood vessels. It doesn't happen in one day. It's the slow buildup over months and years. But if you flip the script and start your day with foods that naturally support nitric oxide production, that's your body's own way of opening up blood vessels, you'll notice a difference you can actually feel. Let me share another story. A patient of mine named Carlos was 72 when he came to me. He was a retired school teacher, soft-spoken, and he carried around a notebook with all his blood pressure readings written neatly in rows. He was doing everything his cardiologist told him, but he still felt sluggish and said intimacy had become an afterthought. When I looked at his diet, his mornings started with eggs and bacon every day. That was tradition for him. He grew up on it, and it felt comforting. But the heavy fats in that meal weren't doing his circulation any favors. I didn't take away his breakfast completely, because food is also about enjoyment and habit. Instead, I encouraged him to add something in, a fruit rich in natural compounds that support blood flow. At first, he wrinkled his nose, but within a couple of weeks, he came back and said, "Doc, I actually look forward to it now. And my walks feel easier. Even my wife says I look less tired." Those were small but powerful victories. And when you're over 60, small victories stack up into a life that feels dramatically different. This is why I stress to every man and woman I speak to, don't underestimate the power of breakfast. It's not just fuel. It's your chance to signal to your body that today will be a day of strength and vitality. Your blood vessels are listening. They respond almost immediately to what you eat. If you eat something heavy and processed, you'll feel weighed down. If you eat something that feeds circulation, you'll feel lighter, clearer, and more confident. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, "But Doc, I've been eating the same breakfast for 40 years, it's too late for me," I want to reassure you. It is never too late. I've seen men in their late 70s make these changes and tell me they felt a new spark, not just in their bodies, but in their outlook on life. One man even joked that his wife accused him of having a secret he wasn't sharing. His only secret was that he swapped out part of his morning plate for something circulation-friendly. Before I go further, I want to pause and ask something of you. If this is resonating with you, if you've ever wondered whether your mornings might be slowing you down, let me know by leaving a yes or no in the comments. I promise I do read them, and it helps me make these videos truly personal for you. And if you haven't yet, please give this video a like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you never miss the advice that could help you feel younger, stronger, and more confident in your own skin. What Richard and Carlos both discovered is that circulation health isn't just about avoiding problems. It's about creating opportunities. When blood flows better, oxygen gets delivered to your muscles more efficiently. That means walking without fatigue, climbing stairs without gasping, and enjoying a better quality of life. And yes, that same circulation powers confidence in the bedroom. It's all connected. Let me explain it in a way I think you'll relate to. Imagine you're watering your garden in the morning. If the hose is kinked or blocked, your flowers wilt. But if the water runs freely, your garden flourishes. Your body is that garden. Without circulation, the flowers, your energy, your confidence, your vitality wilt. But with good circulation, they bloom. And your choice of morning foods is the water you're pouring into that garden. I remember the sparkle in Carlos's eyes when he realized this. He said, "Doc, I always thought it was too late to change things. But now I see it's like giving my body water it's been thirsty for all these years." That's the message I want every man and woman watching this to hear. Your body is thirsty for the right fuel, and it's never too late to quench that thirst. Think about how your day unfolds when you start it sluggish versus when you start it strong. When circulation is supported in the morning, your energy lasts longer into the afternoon, your mind feels sharper, your mood improves, and all of those things, energy, clarity, mood, feed into your relationships, your independence, and your sense of joy. That's why this is more than just health talk. This is about your life. So, as you consider what you'll eat tomorrow morning, remember Richard's relief and Carlos's smile. They both discovered that a small change at breakfast unlocked circulation they thought was gone forever. And the beautiful part? It didn't require expensive supplements or complicated routines. It was simple, natural, and enjoyable.
Richard and Carlos both taught me something I already knew deep down, but love being reminded of. That change is possible at any age, and sometimes the smallest changes bring the biggest results. I'll tell you what I told them. Your blood vessels don't care that you're 60, 70, or 80. They care about what you feed them today. And when you give them what they need, they respond almost immediately. I remember Richard calling me one morning after we'd made the switch in his breakfast routine. He said, "Doc, I'm not sure if it's my imagination, but I feel lighter on my feet today. And my wife keeps asking why I'm whistling around the house." That's what better circulation does. It doesn't just change your physical body, it changes your spirit. You feel more alive because your body is actually delivering life, the oxygen and nutrients where they're supposed to go. Let me explain something in simple terms. Your blood vessels are like highways. The smoother and clearer they are, the faster and more efficiently traffic can move. But if those highways get blocked or stiff, you get traffic jams. That's when you start noticing cold feet, tingling hands, slower energy, and yes, weaker performance down there. Morning foods can either grease the wheels of those highways or clog them up. And once you know the difference, you'll never look at your breakfast plate the same way again. Carlos, for example, was shocked to learn that the foods he thought were manly and hearty in the mornings, like bacon, sausage, and fried eggs, were loading his blood with fats that narrowed his vessels. No wonder he felt heavy and tired after breakfast. I encouraged him to think of breakfast as a way of waking up his circulation, not slowing it down. We added in something bright, fresh, and full of natural plant compounds. And within weeks, his numbers were better. But more importantly, he said his energy felt steady like a river instead of crashing like a wave. This is where I like to pause and remind everyone listening, don't underestimate your body. Even if you've lived a certain way for decades, your body is always rebuilding itself. Cells renew, tissues heal, vessels adapt. When you eat right in the morning, you're literally giving your body the raw materials it needs to rebuild those highways, so traffic flows again. That means your muscles get more oxygen, your brain gets more clarity, and your intimate areas get the support they need to function the way they were designed to. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, Doc, what exactly are these foods? We'll get into the specifics, but here's the important thing to remember for now. Foods rich in natural circulation boosters don't come in a pill bottle. They come from your grocery store, your garden, or the fruit bowl on your kitchen counter. They're simple, natural, and affordable. That's why I love teaching about them, because everyone can benefit, no matter where you live or what your budget looks like. Another patient, James, gave me a story I think you'll love. James was 68, a retired mechanic, and he was the kind of man who'd say, "Doc, I'm fine," even when I knew he wasn't. His wife finally nudged him into my office. He admitted he was tired more often, had less interest in intimacy, and his morning walks left him winded. He had a twinkle in his eye, though, and I could tell he wanted to fight for his vitality. We adjusted his morning plate, just like I'd done with Richard and Carlos. A few weeks later, James came back with a grin. "Doc, I can't explain it, but I feel like I've got a new engine under the hood." That was his way of saying his circulation had woken up, and with it, his confidence. These stories aren't rare. They're common. They prove that what you eat in the morning can set the tone for your circulation all day long. And once circulation improves, it touches every part of your life. Your energy, your independence, your relationships, even your sleep at night. I've watched men rediscover hobbies, laugh more with their wives, and feel less anxious about the future, all because their circulation was finally supporting them instead of holding them back. Let me speak directly to you now. If you're someone who has noticed slowing circulation, whether it's in your legs, your energy, or your intimacy, I want you to know you're not alone. You're not broken. You simply need to give your body the right kind of start to the day. And it's never too late to begin. If this message is speaking to you, I'd love for you to take just a moment and hit the like button. It lets me know this content is helping you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and tap that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss the kind of advice that could give you back your spark. And please, leave me a quick yes or no in the comments. Do you believe your mornings could be the key to better circulation? I truly value reading your thoughts. They guide me in what to share with you next. Coming back to James, what moved me most wasn't just that he felt stronger, it was that his wife came in with him on that follow-up visit. She looked at me and said, "Thank you, doctor. I feel like I got my husband back." That's the gift of circulation. It doesn't just affect you, it affects the people you love. It restores connection, intimacy, and joy in your relationships. So the big question I want you to hold on to is this: what will you choose tomorrow morning? Will you keep starting your day with foods that slow you down, or will you try adding something that opens your vessels and gets your blood moving the way it was meant to? That one decision, repeated day after day, can transform not just your mornings, but your entire life. When James's wife told me she felt like she had her husband back, it struck me deeply. Because circulation isn't just about what's happening inside your veins and arteries. It's about what happens in your life when your body feels alive again. When your mornings fuel your circulation, you're not just boosting blood flow down there, you're creating opportunities for laughter, closeness, and the simple joys that make life after 60 so rich. Richard felt it when he noticed his energy lift and his wife's smile return. Carlos experienced it when his walks around the neighborhood no longer felt like a chore. James discovered it when his engine under the hood started roaring again. And I've seen countless other men and women who thought they had no control, only to learn that the plate in front of them each morning was the key they'd been missing all along. I often remind my patients that our bodies are like symphonies. Every instrument plays a part: the heart, the blood vessels, the muscles, the nerves. But if the conductor isn't giving them the right direction, the music falls apart. The morning meal is like that conductor. It sets the tempo for your circulation and for your day. A sluggish start means the music drags, but the right start brings harmony and strength. What I want you to take away from this is simple. You are not powerless. Even after 60, even after 70, your body is listening to what you feed it. The blood vessels that carry life to every corner of your body are waiting for the signal to open up, to flow freely, to give you back the strength and confidence you deserve. And that signal can come from something as ordinary as what you eat with your morning coffee. If you've been watching this and nodding along, maybe even thinking about your own breakfast table, let me ask you again. Do you believe your mornings are helping your circulation or hurting it? Drop a yes or no in the comments. I truly do read them, and they guide me in shaping these talks for you. And please, if you found value here today, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and tap that bell so you never miss the kind of advice that could give you back your spark. Because here's the truth, life after 60 doesn't have to be about decline. It can be about discovery. Discovery of new strength, new vitality, and yes, even new intimacy. I've seen men who had nearly given up come alive again, not because of some complicated medical procedure, but because they started fueling their circulation every morning. That's the power you have in your hands. And if you're sitting there thinking, "Doc, it sounds too simple," let me remind you, simple doesn't mean small. Simple often means powerful. It's the daily choices, repeated faithfully, that add up to transformation. Richard's mornings changed his marriage. Carlos's mornings gave him back his energy. James's mornings restored his confidence. What could your mornings do for you? As I look back on all the stories over my 30-plus years as a men's health specialist, I can tell you this with confidence. The body wants to heal. It wants to flow. It wants to thrive. All it needs is your help. And the easiest place to begin is right when you wake up. Tomorrow morning, choose something that boosts your circulation. Give your body the chance to surprise you. So let's circle back to where we began. We started this journey talking about a quiet worry many men carry, about circulation down there, about losing spark, about slowing down. And we've seen together how that worry doesn't have to define your future, because one choice made each morning can set your circulation free and give you back the vitality you thought was gone. I want you to feel encouraged because you deserve a life full of energy, connection, and confidence. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring the age you are while giving your body what it needs to keep serving you well. And it's never too late to start. I'm Dr. Nolan Easton, and it's been my privilege to share this with you today. Remember, your best days don't have to be behind you. With the right choices, especially in the morning, your best days can still be ahead.